been a long time. The boys are with their cousins at my sister-in-law's for the day, and I have about 4 hours until there's a chance of rain. So I'm going to get as much done as possible. I've got a ewe to treat. I've got ewes to move. We got chores to do. The ram made a mess of his pen, so I need to get that cleaned up. We'll see what else we find. We'll come back to this ewe. She's not doing very good. She's rough. So if you saw on Facebook and Instagram, this is the stuff that I was mixing in that last video I put up on Facebook and Instagram. There's protein pellets, I don't know if you guys can see this, and barley. So these lambs behind me are what's left of our market lambs. We've already sent out one load, 32 market lambs over 60 pounds. They went to Mount Hope last week. These guys all range in like the high 40s to mid 50s. So they probably have a couple weeks left before they'll be ready to go to the sale barn. And then if you see anybody with yellow on their back, there's 7 of them. 4 of them are more replacement ewe lambs that I picked out to keep, and then there are 3 lambs to go to butcher that we're going to harvest and give to some friends and family. Going to feed the dogs, feed the ram. Yes, I know, truck. Oh my god, I have my seatbelt on. Feed the dogs, feed the rams, and then the ram has made a mess of his temporary pen. So I need to get that cleaned up. I'm gonna move the ewes to a new pasture. We are still grazing, thankfully. Right now the ewes are at Rocky Knob and we're grazing there, but this part of the reason we're still at Rocky Knob, I should say and let you in on the full story, is Maggie has been in heat. One of our livestock guardian dogs has been in heat for the last 2.5 weeks. She's done this coming Saturday, maybe the day this video comes out. So once she's done with her heat cycle, she'll go back with the mature ewes and Mose, our livestock guardian puppy in training, and they're going to go back over the hill onto the leased pasture that we had this summer. So we're just kind of hodgepodging around Rocky Knob right now, trying to get through Maggie's heat cycle. I don't want Mose to go over there by himself. We had some trouble with either coyotes or like dogs, just pet dogs, late summer, and I don't want him to be there by himself if that happens. This is the ram. He is not typically in this little stall, little pen, but I needed to get him out of the barn at our house where the rams typically are, with the little grass pasture right behind our house. So I cleaned this area out, and he's in here, and he has made an absolute mess of everything. So I need to get it cleaned up, and looks like he's gonna need new bedding also. Please don't dump that. We also had to add an extra layer of beef panel to make the fence a little bit taller, because as the ewes, with it being fall, the ewes are naturally cycling right now, and he's been a little bit antsy and ready to get out, but it's not time yet. I did go ahead and tie him up just because I'm not going to take the chance of getting rammed, so I'm going to get this cleaned up. All done. I'll bring him back another couple flakes of straw because I sloshed water all over the place refilling his bucket, but he is good to go. So Mose, our livestock guardian dog puppy in training, is doing really, really good. Like I said earlier, I don't want him to go over the hill where it's, you know, more vacant. There's not people up there hardly ever. I don't want him to do that by himself in case he were to run into a problem that he's never encountered before, so he wouldn't necessarily be confident in what to do. He's got the instinct, I'm sure, but I don't want to put him in that situation. Can you say hi to the camera? Hi. Hi. Can you just feed me? You're a goober. And then the ewes are coming. Like I said, we're still rotating through on Rocky Knob, and there is still quite a bit of grass in here, but I don't want them to eat it down much. So I'm gonna let them, they're gonna come through and they can graze this next pasture. Come on, Mose. And we're just gonna keep them moving. With it being late in the fall, I don't want to take the chance that they eat it too tight and the grass doesn't come back. We've had that problem in the past. So there's already 6 new ewe lambs in here that I have decided to keep back. And then this weekend we'll add the 4 more that I showed earlier. So we'll be up to about 50, 45 or 50. Good boy. So he is about 6 months old. I'm guessing he's about between halfway and 3/4 of the way grown. He's well over 60 pounds already. Maybe closer to 75. He's heavy. But very happy with him so far. Okay, chores are done. Now we're gonna go back and I'm gonna take care of that ewe in the barn. A couple years ago, we had a really bad case and outbreak, I don't know what you want to call it, of wild cherry poisoning. We had about 20 ewes munch on a branch that had fallen from a wild cherry tree with wilting leaves, and it killed 3, and we were able to pull the rest, 17 or 18, out of it. And we found this ewe last week as we were weighing market lambs, and she had the same kind of symptoms. She was stargazing a lot, like her head was way back. You could tell that her ears were really droopy and her face was starting to puff up. So we got her into the barn, and one of the other telltale signs is like their bottom eyelid is a really deep red, almost like purple. And she had some of that. It wasn't as deep as the ones we had in the past. So she got the charcoal to help soak up the toxins and stuff, but now her swelling has gone down, but her eyes are really, really bad. So I talked to Luke, who is my brother-in-law, also a vet, and we've got some new stuff to do with her to help her get out of this. But otherwise, she's doing fine. She's eating. She looks like she's maintained her weight pretty well. Her skin feels like it's gonna scab off, which is what happened a couple years ago with a lot of the ewes. But she's the only one, and there are no cherry branches in the field that they were in when we found her. So it's kind of a mystery, kind of not. We'll see. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure I have the right dosages. Guessing you didn't see that. Well, I didn't get that on camera, but she's treated for the first time today. She'll get one of the medicines again tonight, and we'll do the same thing for the next 3 days. Some junk pumpkins here that weren't good enough to sell, so I'm going to load those up and take them into the pasture where the ewes are. I don't want them here. I thought I would feed them somewhere else, but I'll take them into that pasture and they won't hurt anything there, and they love them. Pumpkins are like the biggest treat to our sheep and my father-in-law's cows. They love them. Good boy, Mose. So I've got some trash and a tire to pick up along the road here in this pasture. This is a pasture that we just this summer got permanent fence on, and my father-in-law's goats have been in here for a good portion of the late summer and fall, and they are doing an amazing job. So down this tree line, it used to stick like 2 or 3 feet out this way towards the fence. They've got it all eaten back. There was a ton of honeysuckle in there and they love it. And then on this side, along the road, they are keeping it down really well. It's coming back. We just moved them back in here about a week ago, maybe. So they've been working on it, but like late last summer, or if you're local and you've ever driven by, there's a big difference on what this used to look like. You used to not be able to see through here. It's just a ton of multiflora rose and autumn olive and honeysuckle and just junk. So because they're getting it eaten down, they're getting the weeds eaten down. The sheep are now roaming around a little more, eating the grass, and it's shown that there's a lot of trash in here from being right along the road. So I'm gonna go down. I've got a good old empty dog food bag. I'm gonna go down and collect trash. Stand somewhere with a job in front of you and realize that the job is very quickly becoming much bigger than you thought it was. There's a bottle there, a bottle there. Oh, there's some right there. Here's some. Oh, look! Their personal trash hole. I have way more than one tire. I can see 6 from where I'm standing. This will definitely be more than one day job. Okay, so I have to keep moving on to something else. Partially because I've got other stuff to do, and the more I do this, the madder it makes me. So I've started getting it into piles so that it'll be easier to come back and pick it up. But I don't know. It's just really hard. We've only owned this property for 5 years now, and before there were a lot of renters through here, and a lot of the stuff that I'm finding is just glass jars and like metal things, so that they've been here a really long time. There's not a ton of plastic, which tells me that it's not been recent, like shortly before we got it. This stuff's been here for a really long time. So, trying to keep that in mind. It was a different time back then, but it still sucks to have to clean it up. So, I'm gonna move on to something else. Well, no, I'm going to go back down where I was, and I'm going to finish along the road, and then move on to something else. Come back at this another day. The other really hard part is like that up there. That's the top of the old driveway that we used to use. And this area, it's probably a 20-foot difference between where I'm standing to the top and then from where I'm standing down to the road. There's probably another 20 feet. And all of that trash is right here behind me, like in this hollowed out area. So it's not going to be easy to get it out of there. I had a very productive day today. I went home, had lunch, did some stuff around the house while it rained, picked up the boys, and we just did chores. And I've got one very angry boy. So that is the end of today. We'll see you guys next week.